Hello and welcome to Evolve Pipedrive Podcast, where we talk all things Pipedrive, sales, apps and Pipedrive Marketplace. My name is Bruce Bignell, I'm the Sales Director here at Evolve, and today it's my great pleasure to be joined by Stephen Brennan, the Partnerships Manager at Leadfeeder for EMEA. Now, today Stephen's going to be taking us through the Leadfeeder platform and how it integrates with Pipedrive. Stephen, over to you.
That's great. Thanks for the introduction, Bruce. Looking forward to sharing with you all how Pipedrive works with the Leadfeeder platform. So without further ado, I will share my screen and we can start looking into how everything looks.
Wonderful.
So here we have the Leadfeeder platform. So this is the view that you'll be faced with once you enter the web app. I'm first going to go through a quick overview just for those who haven't experienced Leadfeeder before. So if you've already got a good knowledge, you might want to move along a little bit later on where I'll be digging into some more pro features of the platform. But as you can see, the platform is split into three core sections. Down the left, we have our navigation between our different feeds. And what we mean by a feed is a filtered view of the data that we have coming into the account. You'll also see here any integrations that you have in place. So this account has already got Pipedrive integrated. We also have MailChimp in this particular account, and then all of our custom feeds, which I will go through a little bit later on. Then down the center, we have all of those company matches. So when someone comes through to your website after our tracking script is installed, you will then be able to see all of those company matches. This is done via the IP address, whether static or dynamic, and is run against our proprietary database before removing any internet service providers and then just leaving you with that actionable data within the account here. You can change the time frame on the data that's coming in. So we're just looking at the last 30 days. You can search for a particular company, export the information out for reporting purposes, or one of the fun things for marketing is that you can actually take it out in a format ready for LinkedIn, so an audience format. We then also sort by...
Does that then connect with something like LinkedIn ads or LinkedIn your sales nav? How does that work?
That would be with ads. So I'll definitely show you something that you could do with sales nav a little bit later on. Cool. But that particular feature will be for marketers looking to then run ads. So a nice thing that you could do, and I'll show a little bit later, is creating a custom feed that is looking at potentially particular keywords so that you have a great way of targeting people on LinkedIn because you know their intent and then retargeting them that way. So that's one way it can be used. So here is how you can sort. So I've got this by last seen, but we also do have the ability to sort it by quality. And this is our quality metrics. So what we're looking at here is two different types of data. We're looking at the quality of data that we've been able to provide against that organization, as well as their behavior on the site as well. So things like the number of visits, when did they last visit, did they go deep into the site, so did they go through a range of pages, or was, on the flip side, was there a high bounce rate, so did they come onto the site and exit straight away? So you can understand the intent and we can display them that way. And then finally, in the last panel, we have an overview for the feed. So the top leads, the average per day, the countries that that's coming from, and the industries as well. So you can have a high understanding of if the traffic is relevant to your ideal customer profile. We then at the bottom just have any notifications. So if you have any email subscriptions set up to the feed, so notifications set up, or any automations, which again, we'll go into in more detail shortly. We'll then click into one of the leads that come through. So we'll use Leadfeeder for this example. Across the top, we have our Leadfeeder activities. So here's the first look at how Pipedrive is integrated. So it's a native two-way integration, which allows us to be able to pass data into your Pipedrive instance. So we can create new activities or new leads manually directly from here. Then within the platform, we can assign. So you can assign it to a team member. You can set up a follow notification when someone from Leadfeeder returns to the site, or email this information over to another colleague. We also have our tags, which are really useful for being able to set what these leads mean to you. So it might be prospects, they might be competitors that you're not interested in, or you can add as many tags as you like that have greater meaning to you and your process.
And that pushes into Pipedrive as well?
So this definitely possible to use these tags, and we've actually just it used to be preset, so you couldn't change the properties that were going across the Pipedrive. But what I can show you a little bit later on is we now have opened up the option where you can choose which properties go to which properties within Pipedrive, which is really nice. So tags is one of the things that you can use, and I've seen some really cool things from customers where they've been using tags to trigger automation that they have and things like that within Pipedrive. So really exciting to see how our customers are leveraging that.
Nice.
So here we have a high-level view of the organization, the information we've been able to provide, some quick links so that they can go into further research or go straight into LinkedIn for prospecting. We have an overview of the data that we mentioned earlier, like the quality, number of visitors. We can now also set goals as well. So a little bit similar to GA and how you would set a goal for a particular page or file download or something like that. We have a similar function where you can now set a goal, so you don't have to dig deep into the data here. You can just look at the goals in this section. We then also have Lassim. So good to see our colleagues are jumping on the site only just 7 minutes ago. And then when Pipedrive is integrated, we can see if there's any activities that are against. We can see any open deals, so we can see the deals there. And we can also see the owner, which is really great to see. We then have the meat of the Leadfeeder data, so we can see the activities. So within here, we can actually click into any of these and be able to see what the activity on the site has been. So the number of pages, time spent on those pages, and also the source. So what brought them to the site as well. So if they came off the back of a campaign, or did they come, for instance, like this one, directly to you. You might also notice in this particular instance, we've been able to identify the individual. So there's different ways of how we can do that as well. So a form fill is one of the options where we're able to pull that data into the account. And also if you're using ActiveCampaign, HubSpot Marketing, or MailChimp, then from any of those options, then you're able to actually see those visitors once they've clicked on an email and come back to the site as well. So they're just a few options of how the individual could be passed into the account as people. But form is definitely a great way of doing that. And then you're able to see their visits before the form fill and after, and understand their journey as they move through your sales process. So that's how a lot of our Pipedrive users are seeing those individuals and really enabling that to power their sales journey.
Yeah, nice.
We then have our contacts element as well. So this best way to look at this is like a phone book for the organization. So this allows you to be able to see contacts at that organization. You're able to search by role or name, by the country. You're then able to then see the email addresses and social links where available. And we have that for the contacts. And then another way this can be used if you can't find the particular contact at the organization is you will still have the email structure for their email. Yeah. So you can go into LinkedIn, find the exact person, then come back and use that email structure to be able to then outreach. We then have the Pipedrive integration here. So again, you can jump across into Pipedrive. You can see the owner. We can send the visits to Pipedrive, so you're enriching the CRM. We can have the activities here, so you can see your open, closed, or have an all view. You can create new ones directly from here, and the exact same with deals as well. So you can have that information, or you can quickly jump across into the Pipedrive system and be able to see all of those. And we also have the lead element as well.
Question on the owner standpoint.
Of course.
Is that owner against the
organization, and then so at the top section here it would be the organization.
So if there wasn't an owner associated, would that be asking you to set an owner?
So definitely something that you could then look to see that there's no owner, and that may be that you want to set an activity for someone. So it might be that you see no owner within here, you feel like it should have one, so you might want to set an activity from there to assign a correct owner for maybe that region or that type of account, something like that.
So the sales manager and or individual could, if there's a gap there, sales manager can assign it or individual can claim it. Or
Exactly. And then finally, we have a comment section as well. So it might be that once you've researched the data here and seen something really interesting, you might want to then come and place a comment. And rather than it just being displayed within our system, you can also send that across to Pipedrive. So that will update at the company level as well. So you're able to see all of those notes.
Nice.
So that's a really great way of how we're not just leaving you with disparate data. The two systems are seamlessly integrated, which is fantastic. So then we will go into the create custom feeds, where a lot of the power comes from our system. So within here is where we can now start to filter the view. So we're only looking at data that is important to you. And the different ways that we can do that is we have behavior. So this is the visitor behavior on site. So an example for this might be a particular file download, or it might be something like a series of pages that have got high intent. So if you have a pricing page, for instance, or something that's lower down the funnel, then you could start to track those pages. Or it might be a criteria thing. So it might be the number of visits and then mixed in with the number of pages as well to tell a higher level of intent. We then have acquisition, more of the marketing user case. So here you're able to see the campaign and keyword data once Google Analytics is connected. We can see any referring URLs. So if you're working on building backlinks, you can check the relevancy of leads coming through. And then we have the source and medium. So it might be that you want to understand, for instance, in this, we want to look at what's coming from Google CPC, so your paid advertisement, then we're able to do that and see, I say, the quality of leads that are coming in from that paid element. And then the other addition that you might want to add into here is the campaign, or then the target CTA that you were trying to get them to do. Did they visit a particular page, for instance, or things like that? So that's a way that you can start to understand the traffic that's coming through from there. And then if we go back to the different options that we have, so I'll just X that one out. We have company information. So this is where you can build out that ideal customer profile. So you can use where the company is located. We can actually use the visit location as well. So it's slightly different to where we've got the head office registered. This will actually be visit by visit. We have things like the employee count. So an example of that might be that you only work with certain size of organization. So between 500, let's do it, 1,000 for this example. Then we're able to see organizations that meet that criteria. And it might be that, again, within the company information, you only want to look at, maybe you have a focus on United Kingdom, for instance, then we're able to add that in and only look at leads that are coming from the United Kingdom from there. So that's just an example of how that might be done for sales users, mapping out their ideal customer profile.
Nice.
But again, if we just go back to the options, we then have the email marketing, so the email list from there, or a particular campaign. We have the Leadfeeder activities, so as you rightly pointed out earlier, the tags, so we can set up a separate folder for any of those tags that have been added. It can be by who's been assigned, if someone's been notified of that. All of those options are available. And then the exciting bit, the CRM. So this is where we can see people that are in the Pipedrive CRM or not yet. We can see the activity status. We can look at particular deals. We can look at owner. So if each owner wants to see all of their particular deals and what's going on, they can do that. They can even break it down to the stage and status. So one of the things that I would always set up straight away from the platform, and a quick way to prove ROI, is look at any of your lost deals that are now coming back to the site. Maybe they had a particular blocker in place, so maybe it was a budget thing, or maybe they had a few bits of red tape to get through internally before they were able to move forward. Now those blockers have been removed and they're coming back to the site and they want to re-engage. Really great way to be able to jump back onto those opportunities and hopefully convert them and see a return on investment straight away. And the last ones, like the lead owner, we're able to look at as well. So it doesn't just have to be on a deal, or the organization owner as well. So we can look at all of those things. So it might be a account manager who looks after their organization wants to see if a particular visitor from an organization is looking at cross-sell and upsell opportunities and things like that. So great ways of how the platform can work not just for sales that haven't been brought in yet, but also for managing current accounts as well. So now that we've had a bit of an overview of how to create the custom feeds, after you've created them and filtered the view, now we want to start looking at distributing the information. So here we have the ability to send a daily or weekly tabled email, which puts together everything that meets the criteria. Or if you want something a bit more proactive, we can choose when a new lead appears, and we can look to add a tag. So it might be that if you want to tag something that is now a prospect because they've met certain criteria, you might want to do that. Or it might be because they're looking at, as I say, at those cross-sell opportunities or anything like that that you can use that meets your process. Then you can assign a tag. You can assign to a particular user within our platform. You can share via email. And now, again, Pipedrive, where that comes in, is we can actually update information within the CRM within these automations. So we can create a organization or lead, or we can update. We can then assign an owner, or it might be that you want to leave that unassigned so that someone within the platform, when it's created within a pipeline, they might want to assign or something like that.
Yeah.
Or we can create the deal and we can create an activity. And all of those elements can be customized from here. So this is how you can seamlessly run Leadfeeder alongside Pipedrive so that you can have that information passing in and creating the right activities and the right deal information, or updating those deals as well.
Nice.
Then what I'd like to show you as well, as I mentioned earlier, what we've done within the account is we've now enabled the ability to choose how those field mappings are done. So here we can see that active sync. So when we've been able to pass all of the data across to Pipedrive, we're able to look at what is set up. So we can choose if we're allowed to do anything manually, if we're allowed to automatically send leads through, and all of that information is checkable there. We can then go into the different properties and be able to map them accordingly as well. So one of the things that you mentioned again earlier was those tags. So you would be able to then use a tag, which isn't a property we would typically have sent across previously. Now that's possible. And then you can choose or create a new property within Pipedrive and then use that tag for, it might be just in your sales process. If the salesperson sees a particular tag, it might change the way they approach things, or it might be actually to trigger some automation within the CRM itself. So different ways of how to look at that, and gives a lot more flexibility about what you can do within the system now that we have those options available to us.
Yeah, that's really cool. And that's live on the platform now?
That's live within the platform now, yes. So anyone that is testing out or a current user will be able to see that within their account as well.
Nice.
Lastly, just because I'm over in this section as well, we do have the ability to import lists. So this might be if you've got a target list, for instance, so an ABM list of 100 companies that you would like to target, then you would be able to create a custom feed once one of these list contacts hit the site. Mm-hmm. And then the automation could be that you could create that company in your CRM and as an organization, and then be able to create a deal off the back of it, or a lead or something like that. So it might not be data that you want to put straight into the CRM until they've seen some level of intent. That is a great example. Or it might be off the back of an event. It might be that you've run an in-person or webinar, and you might want to import all of the attendees and then see if they're coming back to the site and what they've been looking at, things like that. So there's a few different user cases for if it's information that sits outside of the CRM as well.
Nice.
But I hope that was a really good overview of how you could possibly use Leadfeeder. Is there any use cases you'd like to look into as far as the sales or marketing side?
No, that's great. I think from my side, I think that's good for now. I think if anyone wants their own personal demo, certainly reach out to Stephen or the team there. For me, that was a nice introduction to the platform and how seamlessly it integrates with Pipedrive, right? So, really, really cool there. Anyone that has watched this to the end, congratulations. But we also have in the links in the description below an extended trial. So typically it's 14 days, but you've now got 21 days, and that'll be in the descriptions below. But once again, Stephen, thank you very much.